any point during the event, you can click on the link in the chat to purchase Ashley Molesso's and Chess Needham's book, The Gay Agenda, which is fantastic, absolutely stunning. Can't recommend it enough. Yeah, get a copy now. Additionally, you can ask any questions in the Q&A box, which can be found near the bottom of your screen, and we will be asking questions, audience questions during the second half of the event. Finally, we want to thank all of you for being here with us today. We're so thankful to our family of loyal customers and new friends for keeping our business and our spirits afloat. It's now my pleasure to introduce tonight's guest. Tonight we have the pleasure of hosting Ashley, who is also called Ash as a nickname, Molesso and Chess Needham, who are owners of this stationery company, Ash plus Chess, based out of Richmond, Virginia. They create bold greeting cards and art prints that are simply amazing. They have collaborated with Bellatrix, HarperCollins, and Workman Publishing, Forever 21, and the Style Club, Plaza, Style, and New Works. They're also the authors of The Gay Agenda, an illustrated modern queer history and handbook, and they are currently working on the Queer Tarot Cards, an inclusive deck and guidebook, which will be published in spring of 2022. Please help me welcome them to Politics and Prose.
Yay.
Yay. We're so excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So you both have a stationery store or company, Ash plus Chess, which in an interview was described as if Lisa, Frank, and Rifle Paper Company had millennial lesbian daughters. And so, which is amazing. Like that alone.
Early
Sold.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Today's her birthday, actually. So.
Oh my gosh, happy birthday.
Yeah, so we are the owners of Ash and Chess, and I'm Ash. This is Chess. Oh, and my pronouns are she, her.
I'm Chess. My pronouns are he, him. And yeah, we are the owners of Ash and Chess. It's a small, tiny business. It's just the two of us. We do stationery, art prints, cards, stickers. A lot of it is like wholesale. And then for our direct-to-customer, we also have stuff like t-shirts and little journals and fun things like that. And we're trying to slowly but steadily expand.
Well, making everything rainbow and neon bright.
And so was there, since you, in the interview, I did a little bit of online stalking, apologies in advance. Since you two had first had started dating and then kind of created the company shortly after, did you think about the aesthetics of it like very intentionally, or did it just kind of come about naturally?
I think like a lot of it, so like some background on us. So yeah, we met in 2015 and we did meet on like a dating app, and it was just like casual dating. But then Ash pitched to me the idea very convincingly of starting a stationery company. So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like first I was like, yeah, whatever, I don't know what you're talking about, because we both had like full-time jobs. So I was like, yeah, we can pursue whatever little hobby you want to do. Like that's nice. But like I was a high school teacher. I was a special ed teacher in the New York City DOE, and Ash was working at like a wallpaper company, and then she worked at another textile company as well. But when we first started, like I really didn't have much art background at all. I had some like photography background, but I had never really done any drawing or anything like that, whereas Ash was kind of like a master artist. So like I think our aesthetic initially just started with like Ash's imagination, and then she kind of like taught me how to draw. And I think because, sorry, your dog is barking out the window. I think because I learned from Ash, it kind of made the aesthetic a little bit more cohesive, because it was like as if I was drawing in her style, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I taught you what you know.
Yes, thank you.
And you
I think that
took my ways and made them your own.
Yeah, and I think as far as like our aesthetic goes, if you look at like just our whole, like all of our work as a collection, like all of our cards and stationery and art prints and things like that. It is kind of like it has a few different styles to it, but I do think that it is still like an overall cohesive aesthetic because we do lots of like color matching and things. And like I know a lot of brands kind of like drop products in like batches, like in I don't know, there's like a better word for it.
Collections?
Yeah, like collections. That's a better word. Artists usually drop like collections, and we don't typically work that way. But it seems as if like somehow it has naturally already made itself into like little collections that all just go together, even though they're all slightly different.
Nice. And so the agent that you published this book with reached out via Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And so how did that and being able to create anything, as you read in your intro that there was no limits, how did you always so I guess basically what I'm trying to ask is how did the artwork from the stationery, or how did your influences change artistic wise from the stationery shop to working on the book, or was it pretty much the same?
Ooh, this is a good one. I feel like we haven't been asked this one before.
I know.
I mean, I feel like we were able to bring in some of the styles and like artwork that we usually use whenever we're designing greeting cards and art prints and stuff. But like when it came to the book specifically, we had to draw a lot of people, and that is my biggest thing that I don't like. I don't like drawing people.
It's hard.
Even though I literally just drew an entire tarot deck of people. But I don't know, I just find it so hard. And that was like one thing that really was difficult for us together, like while doing this. But the fun parts were like, since this was a very like illustrated book, like the point of it was to be just like completely fully illustrated. It was really fun being able to essentially design like 176 different pieces of artwork, which is really cool. Because like when we're designing greeting cards, we only design like, I don't know, like 10 at a time. And even 10 at a time is like, it's a lot, but
and it's such a constrained like size, and like just like what you can have in a greeting card is so small compared to like what you can put on a page of a book too. I don't know. So I still look at the book and I'm like dumbfounded that we somehow pulled off designing all of these pages individually.
Yeah, like this one is amazing.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they're all amazing, but I was reading it and I was just amazed at the artwork and your ability to draw so well, and then condense all of, like, not condense, but have such pertinent information and working in conjunction with artwork. It's just so amazing. And so in the introduction, you mentioned that there's a book of the same title written by a pastor from a church in Arkansas that is a lot different than this one, and because it's Arkansas. Sorry if anyone's from there. But why was writing this book with the same title important to you?
Well, I mean, the story behind that is we kind of like came up with the concept of the book, and then we came up with a title, and we were like, this title is so great. Like it's like funny because it's like taking back like what so many people before was like we're calling this a negative thing. So I Googled the name to see if any other books were out there, and I saw that the pastor from a mega church that I used to go to as a kid in my hometown wrote a book called The Gay Agenda.
But it was like the gay agenda, like it's tearing apart our families.
Yeah, it was like
it's
it
ripping
really was a bad book. It
like,
was not a book that we want to read. But basically, I don't know. Once I read that, I was like, this is meant to be like we're gonna like, you know, cancel out that homophobic crap that
Yeah.
probably it is. I haven't read it, but
We don't need to read it. We can make some guesses. Yeah, I feel like it was kind of like taking back the gay agenda, because I mean, the gay agenda is just like be yourself, or like, oh, what a tragedy.
yeah, it's like the gay is just queer people existing.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yeah. Well, now this is the first thing that pops up when you Google it, so
Yay.
that's amazing. And so when you were deciding what to create, why did you choose this particular, like, why did you want to write a queer history and handbook?
I mean, I think that like, so yeah, we were approached by an agent who we absolutely love, Meg. But we were approached by her like on Instagram, and she had sent us a DM that was like, or I know, I think
No,
she emailed
okay.
us. She emailed
She's
us. It wasn't so
professional.
sketchy.
She's
No, she emailed
professional.
us. She did. Sorry. She emailed us and was like, "Hey, I love your work. Do you guys want to write a book?" And we were just like, we should delete this.
We're like,
this
who
is
is
a
this
scam.
person
We're like,
spamming
whatever.
us?
But then we like Googled her and we're like, wait, this is legit. We should respond.
She found us through our Bellatrist collaboration. Because Bellatrist does like the book club, and they're big in the book world. So
yeah.
that's how we were connected initially.
Yeah. So she asked us basically, like, you know, she was like, I just love your style, like your art style and your presence and stuff. And so, like, do you want to make a book about whatever you want? And we were super, that is like the widest door you could open. We were like, I don't know. Yeah, we'll make a book about something. So we had just like a million ideas too, because obviously if you can make a book on any topic, there are 900 topics that you can choose, like that you're interested in.
Yeah.
And we like tossed around some like playful, like silly ones, but
like dogs wearing clothes through the like different decades.
Yeah, just like silly things. But then we were like, okay, if we're given an opportunity to actually like
if
reach
someone
a
picks
really
up
wide,
this book and like distributes it widely.
Yeah, like if we were given this opportunity to reach a really wide audience, we should probably use it for something that like we wish that we had growing up. Because obviously like, you know, when we're like, for me at least growing up, there was no, sorry, the cat is so cute in the frame. She just I saw her. Like for me growing up, there was no like talk about gay or queer, like anything. So we were just like, we should make something that's accessible to everybody, right? Which is why the entries in this are like short and sweet, because it could be read by a teenager, it could be read by like anybody, and they could have an access point to just like starting to get to know the queer community. And we thought that that was a better use of our talent than making dogs wearing pants, even though dogs wearing pants is really cute.
That can be your next book.
Yeah.
And so what do you, I guess you kind of touched on this, but what do you hope that your book means for its readers?
I mean, for me, I would just hope that it's like a way for them to see that there's like community everywhere, and that the queer community is not new at all. Like we've been around forever. And just like a way for people to see that, you know, they are part of history right now by just living out and queer and proud.
Yeah.
What about you?
Said. Oh.
Oh.
What he said.
Wow.
No, I hope that people pick it up and they can see themselves in it through the people who have been doing these things for years. Yeah, I hope that they can connect in a way that is often so hard to connect to whenever you have like books or like media in front of you, because like, I mean, it's getting better for like queer representation in the media of like all the realms and stuff, but you know, we still have a long way to go, and I hope that this contributes to that.
Yeah, definitely. And so one thing that I found interesting about this book is you cover a lot of time from pre-1990s to pretty much now. And so since that's a lot of history, and not all of it can make it into the book, is there a fact or facts that you learned while researching that completely took you by surprise, or that you were shocked to learn about?
Honestly, for me, I was like shocked to learn everything because I was shocked to learn how little I knew about the queer community despite being a part of it. Um, like I just feel like I don't know, you kind of forget that you're a part of this like intertwined history. And so like all of it, I was like, what? I can't believe that any of these things happened. But I think like the most like glaringly shocking thing to me was like writing about the AIDS crisis and like writing the timeline. Because if you look at the book, like we did it as like there's so much to say about it that instead of saying so much about it, we wrote like a timeline of it. And I remember writing it and researching it and just like going through this timeline and seeing like years and years pass where it was like blatantly obvious that this was an issue that was affecting the queer community, and aside from the queer community it was affecting like Black and brown people and like drug users and basically anyone that society was like looking down on. And so you would see year and year and year it was obvious that there was a crisis and that something needed to be done, and then the government didn't step in, and you were like, or I was just shocked to see, I was naively shocked to see that like nothing was done to help the community for so long. Because like I already knew about it, but I think it was kind of brushed under the rug, like how it was really like it spiraled out of control because it was affecting people that nobody seemed to really care about. You?
I would say everything also, but I don't know. Yeah, going into this project, I had a lot of imposter syndrome because
That too.
whenever the book got picked up, I barely knew any queer people, which is insane to say, I feel. Also, like, we lived in Brooklyn at the beginning of the conception of this book, and there are so many queer people in the city, and I just somehow just didn't know a lot of people. Um, and I felt really like disconnected from the queer community because of that. And um, anyway, with that being said, I feel like I had no idea what we were getting into when it came to like diving into the history, like even just scraping the surface. I feel like this book doesn't even cover the very tip of the iceberg,
Yeah, it
honestly.
doesn't even scrape the surface.
I coming from a very not sheltered life, but like just a very like I guess privileged life. I didn't know that riots happened so consistently before Stonewall. I mean, I should have known that. But Stonewall was like, you know, people used Stonewall as a touchstone for like the turning point of like queer, like the beginning of the queer revolution, like for rights and everything. But I found it really interesting that like, you know, people were having like riots outside of bars and like establishments all of the time, way before Stonewall, and it's not new. And I feel like that's something that gets brushed over in history a lot. Like people are always like, oh, it's Stonewall, it's Stonewall. And it's like, no, that's not the only one. And like it is an important one, but yeah.
Yeah, like the extent of the resistance that had happened before that and like how it had all been bubbling up towards Stonewall too.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I feel like it was just interesting in general to see though how like all of the events intertwined together.
Yeah, definitely. There's a great line in your book that I should have tagged, but alas, I didn't. But it's basically describing one of the riots outside, the couple years before Stonewall, and you write that the Pride movement had started basically long before it became not mainstream, but like known, that it was a lot of individual small actions leading up to the big like Stonewall riot. And it was a big riot. I just mean like the one having Stonewall as the one that people know as the beginning of it was not the beginning at all.
Yeah.
And even with the AIDS crisis, it was shocking to me to learn how long it was. It wasn't until reading your book and seeing the timeline, I was like, oh my God, this was so much time. Just because it definitely, at least when I learned about it, was just kind of, oh, there was age crisis, and then they stepped in, and now it's done. Yeah, so that was just crazy to see the years and years that it took for the government to step in and say, okay, there actually is a problem, as you were saying. So it was just eye-opening. And so going back a little bit, since a lot of your work is involved with art, who are some of your favorite artists, and how did they influence the work in the book? Or did they?
Jeez.
Well, okay, my favorite artist ever. Whenever I think of my favorite artist that comes to mind, I think of Krista Perry.
Oh my gosh.
She is an art icon.
She is
and
amazing. She's also our friend, but like
We're internet
we're
friends.
fans.
We met once. We're big fans of her. She's just so amazing. But she does these very, very beautiful, like 70s, like swirly, swishy, like illustrations.
Yeah,
She
they're gorgeous.
paints them. But I don't know. I feel like I look up to her. And
I feel like, well, similar to that is, I thought, I didn't think you were gonna say Krista, but we do love Krista. But is it John Alcorn?
John Alcorn, yeah.
He's like,
He was an illustrator popular in the 60s, maybe 70s. But he does really cool, like psychedelic folk art.
yeah, it's just like amazing colors. Like if you looked him up, you'd probably be able to tell some influence too, because it's just like his use of color and just like shapes is really, really interesting, I feel like.
I mean, I guess
He's
that's
definitely up
not
there.
really reflected in the book, though. I don't know. I feel like what we really did have on our side with designing this is that we got to use a neon Pantone for one of the colors. So that really like made everything so much brighter than like classic
Yeah, it made it all
CMYK
pop.
printing. And I don't know. I look at this and I don't know if I mean, I feel like we did try to incorporate some like layouts and things into like older, like, I don't know, we looked a lot to just like print design too from like the 60s through the 80s.
Yeah, I feel like that's a consistent influence for us. That and like just like typefaces, magazine, yeah, things like that. And like geometric shapes too. I feel like we always end up using a lot of lines and stars and grids and things like that just to make it interesting.
Nice. Yeah, the artwork in this is, as I've probably said so many times already, is just absolutely amazing. Yeah, if I could draw, I'd want it to look like this. But I can't. I won't show you my artwork. That's
It's amazing.
it's in my little like sketchbook that comes out once a year. And so with the artwork and the text, how did you decide on the format of the book?
So we kind of wanted it to be like all hand drawn. Like we wanted it to be like straight up, like you open it up and like this could be somebody's sketchbook. So that was one of the things going into it. And another thing going into it was that we wanted it to be that we wanted people to be able to open it up to a random page and just be completely captivated by what was on it. So we tried to make it as insane as possible, basically.
Yeah, we tried, well, we did make sure that no two pages were alike too. So it was like every single page was hand drawn and hand designed. And then like also like as far as size wise too, we were kind of torn between like, is this like a coffee table book? Like, should it be a large format type thing where you open it up and like you're I don't know, you keep it on your coffee table and like people just look at it because it is so nice to look at. But then we were also like, we don't want it to be like that because we want it to be something portable that you can take around too, because it does have information in it. So you want people to be able to like read it on the subway if they wanted to, or like on their way to work. And like, so we wanted it to be like a portable size as well. So I don't know. I feel like we ended up on a good size.
Yeah, definitely. I like that. It's gorgeous. That's I will continually sing its praises. And so how did you decide what information you were going to include? Because you have like gay icons and allies, Madonna's in here, which I love, the voguing, that was fascinating. And then like bills and stuff. So how did you choose?
Man, it was really hard to choose,
We had a
honestly.
long list.
Yeah, because since like you mentioned, this covers just like such a span of history. We were confined, like when we signed the contract, like it said how many pages and how many words it
We
could be.
actually
So
went
like we
like
were
I feel like we
confined.
went like 50 pages over
We
too.
did.
Like we went way more than we were actually like given at first, because we were like, we just can't fit all of it in.
Yeah, but it was really, it was so hard to decide what to put into it because there just is like the queer community is so vast that like there are people who know nothing. There are people who are not a part of the queer community who know nothing and want to know things. There are people who are queer historians who are reading this and are probably like, this is garbage. I already know all this. Like, this isn't telling me anything. Like, so there was just such a vast audience. And then on top of that, it was this like vast span. And then it was also like, there are so many people too. Like, I feel like this is a question that still weighs on me because I'm like still feeling guilty about things that we didn't put in the book versus things that we did put in the book, because like I know that there are queer icons too that are like so much less known than people that are in this book. And I also know that there are just queer people who probably made history and probably like did amazing things that nobody even heard about because they weren't reported on, or like maybe it was too early and there was no like Instagram to be like, hey, this person's Insta famous. Like there was none of that. And so I feel like it was this like kind of impossible task to choose like who goes in and who doesn't go in, because then it's like now we're choosing whose story is like worthy of you, the reader, of reading. And I feel like that felt like it still feels like over a year after publishing it, like it still feels like there, like no matter what, we weren't gonna be able to choose like the right things to put into it. So we did try to make sure that we included like icons that were accessible, like that everybody knows, like everyone knows Madonna, like things like that. And then we wanted to make sure that we also put in like some lesser known people as well and some lesser known events as well too. But I really do feel like it was so hard to choose. I'm still like,
I know I have a list.
I don't even know
I
if we
mean,
chose the
I
right
don't
things.
even. Well, also like I would love to do a second edition of this with more.
Yeah, we already have a list going.
We
like,
have a
"Put
list.
this
We have
in."
a Google Doc started already with the things we couldn't add before, and like new things that have come up, and like things that have been unearthed from back in the day. And yeah.
Yeah, I feel like so also I don't know if like everyone knows this about the publishing world, but like it takes a long time. So like we wrote the book and then there was almost a year before it came out, like from when we turned it in. And so even just in like in the digital age that we live in, like information changes like that. So it's like already when we publish some of it is outdated.
Yeah,
or like
it's so wild.
Already when we publish it, now there's like 500 other Instagram accounts that have like amazing information about queer people and queer history. And I'm like, why wasn't that there when I was writing the book? And I could have read about all these people and like had a better list. So like, yeah, we need a part 2, and then like it's an anthology. We need like a part 2 and a part 3 and a part 4. It's just like continuous.
Yes, that'd be amazing. And then we get to see more artwork, we get to learn more history. Yeah. And so what was the research process like?
Ooh, it was really fun. It was a lot of internet. It was a lot of reading. We actually did get to go to a few different archives.
That was fun. Yeah.
we went to the lesbian history lesbian history. I can't talk right now. The lesbian history archives in Brooklyn, and that one was really beautiful. It was just in like an old brownstone, and the entire building is just filled with like archival things, like documents, zines, like
books,
old novels, like research books, and
VHS tapes. Yeah, they had the like
so
old
cool.
pins, just like everything. It was really amazing.
Wow.
And then we also decided to go to San Francisco and LA to check out the GLBT archives in San Francisco, and just check out the Castro while we were there, because I feel like that's just one of the places that it's like known to be queer, and we were like, we've only been to New York and like New Jersey and Arkansas, where we're from, and like we haven't really been like out since we have like been in New York and everything. So we were like, let's take a trip to the other side of the country and check out some like resources. And we went to the USC libraries.
Yeah, where they have the One Archives.
Yeah, the One Archives. We have both of those. We have all three of those places in this book, actually. And it's just like so amazing and so fascinating, like seeing all of this queer material all in one place. And
and just to know that someone is like holding on to all that stuff too, you're like, that's really cool.
Yeah, like at One Archives, they had all of these like picket signs from
that was so cool.
Protests from like AIDS marches and everything, and like they had just so many boxes of pinbacks, like buttons and stuff, and like matchbooks and like all of this queer ephemera, and it's just so wild to just like sift through. And like there's this I found this I don't know which page it's on, but it was an AIDS trading card deck.
Oh my god, that
we found at One Archives, and I was like, this is just like, you don't see this anywhere. And it was just these like trading cards that had information, like basically bios about people who had AIDS or had died from AIDS, and it's just like, it's really powerful being in those places. But it was really fun being able to, like see all these different things and like learn from actual objects too, aside from reading in the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and did seeing like going to the archives, I listened to the audiobook, and so did the trading cards make it into the drawing?
They did. Here, let me find it.
They were so cool.
I think it was in the 90s.
That's amazing.
I thought it was before that, but
found it.
Oh, page is it?
Page?
Page 99.
99.
You were so close.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this
Wow.
Yeah, they were.
That's amazing. And also like kind of heartbreaking at the same time that it came to the point of having to make trading cards to get support, to get help for it.
Yeah.
So on that uplifting note, let's switch to audience questions. So someone wants to know if you're going to be publishing this book in other countries.
I don't know.
Unsure. I'm not sure if it will be translated to other languages, but I do know that it is sold in a few countries. It's just not translated yet. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Was it hard? Sorry, my own question. Was it hard figuring out the tone that you wanted for the text in this book?
Yeah. I think it was like, I don't know, because again, like we wanted it to be really accessible. So you don't want to have like too serious of a tone. Like I used to be a teacher, and I could tell you like when I would read my like high school students informational texts, and they were just like so dry and boring that we were like, we don't want to make dry and boring history, but at the same time, a lot of the things in this unfortunately are tragic, and like we don't want to be joking around about that either. So we tried to kind of find like a balance between like accessible, playful, and serious when it needed to be.
Nice. Well, I think you struck that balance very nicely.
Oh, thanks.
Let's see. Someone also asked, are you involved in the zine scene at all? And if so, what are your recent favorites?
Ooh.
I mean, I like buy zines. I've yet to make a zine. We both have
We
so
have
many
dreams, yeah.
ideas. Because we actually were part of a communal art studio here in Richmond called Studio 23, and they have three
Little zine
Rezo. No,
library.
they have
Oh.
they have a okay, they have a zine library, but
Yeah.
they have 3 Risograph machines and a perfect binding machine that's not brand new. It's used.
Not new. Everything's used.
Yeah, but it's brand new to the studio, and a stapling thing. So we have all the supplies to make a zine. Anyway, my favorite recent. I really love Bijou Carmen's stuff. I feel like there's a new zine every day with Bijou, and I really love this person called Pups in Trouble.
Oh my
and
gosh,
I have
yeah,
a
those
few
are so
zines
freaking good.
from there. I don't know if those are like the zines that people are referring to by this question, but I love like a lot of art-based zines. I don't know much about like informational zines or that scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah,
of what to read.
definitely that person should DM us suggestions so we can
Yeah.
know more.
Nice. I will definitely be checking those out later. Someone asked, do each of you have a favorite moment of queer history?
I feel like my favorite moment is right now.
Yeah.
I feel like right now, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I just feel like right now is like, I don't know. I feel like we're reaching a point where like the next generation is super open. Like I came out to my old students as trans and they all were like, okay. Like they just were like, whatever. Like nobody was weird about it. Like I just feel like we're at a point in which like there's so much information out there. There's so many resources for queer people. There's so many like community-based resources for queer people everywhere. And I just feel like I don't know, it is feeling like we're headed towards something better. So I would say right now.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, even thinking about 10 years ago, like when I came out almost 10 years ago as queer, and I feel like the kind of like just how it was 10 years ago, like is so, I can't even believe how far it's gone, and like how even especially inside the queer community too, because I feel like the queer community was still very like not welcoming of certain types of queer people, and I know that that's like not like it's still kind of the case today, but it's not as bad. Like people are starting to be like, oh fuck these boundaries, sorry I cursed, they're like, let's get rid of these boundaries, like we love everybody in the queer community, as opposed to like being like, you know,
like this is my part of the community, this is your part, like yeah,
I feel like some like transphobia, like I don't know, like if there's biphobia, I feel like for so long when I first came out, like biphobia was such a big deal. It was like, oh, like bi people don't exist. Like I don't know, it was just stupid stuff. But I'm happy to see that you know, queer community is evolving as well.
Definitely. Let's see. Someone asked, what advice would you give to a young artist?
A young artist, sorry, Ash moved her chair during that time. So, I would say for a young artist, just like definitely don't compare yourselves to others. I feel like I keep talking about Instagram, but there is so much art out there and like there's so many people to see, and it's so easy to be like, that person does something similar in my style and like, look, they went viral and they made it big and they have more followers than I have or whatever. And it's just like so easy and also just so like mentally unhealthy to compare yourselves to others, like in terms of their progress or like what they're good at. And I think it's really important to just kind of focus on like, do what you're good at. It's really hard to monetize art, so don't beat yourself up if it doesn't come immediately, and like be patient and just be persistent and true to yourself and your style and make the things that you want to make.
Yeah, make the things that you want to make.
Yeah.
And you know what? Experiment with your style too.
Yeah, that
I feel
too.
like that was a big thing for us together.
Yeah.
Like I feel like all throughout college, even like I did not have a style, and I feel like I still don't have a style that's cohesive. But you know, some people will be like, "Oh yeah, that like you guys definitely drew that," and I'm like, I don't know how you knew, because like I look at our body of
Yeah.
work and I'm like, everything looks so different to me.
Yeah.
So it's 1,000,000% okay if you don't have a style and you don't know what like your vibe is yet. That's a big thing, I think.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And earlier in our conversation, you both kind of mentioned that you suffered from imposter syndrome while working on the book. How did you kind of combat that?
I think we just were like, we signed this contract, we have to. We have to do it. For me, that was what got me through it. I was like, we have to do it.
I mean, I don't know. I think like the more we learned, I feel like going into it, we were really like imposter syndrome, full throttle. But as we progressed through the research and like we started putting together the artwork and everything, I feel like as we were learning this information, we started to feel more part of the community, just like
Yeah.
by knowing it, like just by learning about it. And I feel like that helped towards the end. And also, you know what, it really helped us with our newest project, Queer Tarot. We kind of like we're like, okay, this is something much bigger than the two of us, and I feel like it's really hard to take on a queer history book with just two people, because you know, like we all have different experiences, and like we can't account for everyone else's. So I feel like what we learned from doing the gay agenda alone was that next projects we include the community at a higher level.
Yeah, I also feel like a lot of the imposter syndrome for me was more so just like, we don't deserve this opportunity. Like, why did we get this opportunity versus someone else? And so I think that after, like as we continued to work on it and as we like got deeper into the project, I was like, you know what, we are actually putting like so much work into this that maybe we do deserve it a little bit. So I feel like a lot of just like running the business in general has been a lot of like, why do we deserve this over someone else? But I think we just have to not be as hard on ourselves as we want to be.
Yeah, it's like they always say, you're your own worst critic.
Yeah.
Let's see. Someone asked, how has your book been received in different regions of the US?
That's a good question. You know, I wish we had more data on that too, because I'm always like, where is it selling the most? Because we sell it on our website, and like I know that we ship it out to like everybody, and I'm like, that's so cool. But honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know, I can tell you that the Goodreads review page rips us apart. So there are people out in the world that don't like it, but I guess that goes for any book.
Critique everything, so.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. That I feel. Yeah, I actually don't know that.
That was a good
At
question.
all.
I also want to add, though, there are people on the Goodreads page of your book who love it. So
True. See, I know it's so easy to focus on the people who don't like it. You're right.
Yeah, sorry, I can't get it out of my head.
Let's see. Someone says this book is gorgeous, and I know Ashley illustrated it. Can you talk about that illustration process?
Ooh, yeah. So we actually both illustrated it. I did do the layouts.
Yeah.
I did the layouts of everything, but together we like drew all the little doodles in it. But what we did, a lot of the images in here, they are actually just redrawings of actual photos from queer
Like
history.
reference photos.
So like this one, for example, which I actually love this one.
I love that one too.
Because we realized that this guy is opening the door backwards. Like the doorknob's in the wrong spot, but then when we looked at the photo, it was like that. So I don't know what that deal is. But anyway, yeah, a lot of these things are just like images that we like redrew, and then like for instance, some of them we like added our own flair to it. But yeah, everything's hand drawn in this book.
Yeah.
And
yeah, everything was hand drawn and then scanned.
yeah,
or
we scanned
some of them
it.
honestly we took pictures of and put them in the computer. It was a
Yeah,
little low
it's the
budget for
bootleg
part of it.
scan.
Yeah.
But yeah, we
And
did
then
everything in Adobe Illustrator, coloring in with like Wacom tablets, fun stuff like that. This one, we actually took this photo because we went to the first Queer Liberation March, and
wow.
this was in Central Park.
Yeah,
so it was
so-
really exciting to like be able to take our own photos too and incorporate them into the book. But yeah. Also, to be specific, we used Tombow pens, and I love them.
Yeah, me too.
I have one right here, actually. We used these on tracing paper for the most part, and
Ooh.
they're really great.
That's the last thing I need is more pens. My mom
I know.
every
I
time.
have a pile of pens right next to us.
Let's see. Someone asked, how excited were you when you received the finished copy of the book in your hands? What sections were you most surprised with?
Well, luckily there weren't really any surprises because we did get to approve all of it before it was sent to production. But I mean,
I think
yeah.
seeing like everything printed with the neon was really awesome because the pages we approved were just printed on a printer.
Yeah.
But I think seeing the book in full color and all of our illustrations like shrunk down and like bound together, it was just like so amazing. And like we freaked out. I remember the box was on the porch and we brought it in and we were screaming.
Yeah, we were so nervous to open it.
We were screaming the whole time. We had like 8 copies. Like I actually, oh my gosh, I don't even know. It was very special. It's exactly how all those unboxing videos look like of everybody with their first book.
Yeah. Yeah, it was exciting to just like hold it in our hands and see our names written on it and everything. We're like, oh, wow, it's crazy.
It's real. I know.
Yeah.
It's like so hard to believe sometimes.
Yeah.
Still.
Do you have a favorite page? I
feel
know it's like asking to pick a favorite child, but we gotta ask.
I think I have a favorite page.
What's your favorite page?
Wait, I'm not sure. Okay.
I think this is my favorite spread. I think just for the
I do
colors.
like that one.
And just like the composition of it, because like, you know, it's very illustration heavy on this side, and then I have this cute little border over here, and yeah,
Okay,
I don't know. That's my favorite aesthetically.
I think my favorite aesthetically is where is it? It's
Oh,
close.
and I love the pins page. I gotta show
No,
that.
not that one. Well, you can show that one. That's not my favorite. Okay, wait.
What are you looking for?
No. I'm looking for the family planning one.
Oh,
I thought it was right here.
it's in the back.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, I got it.
That was one of our original drawings.
I don't even know why this is one of my favorite pages. I just do. I think I have a thing for like grids. Like, I just like
That was one of mine too.
I like this font. We call it Yummy Gummy.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's like
Yummy Gummy is a classic.
every time it appears,
Staple.
I just love it. I like looking at it.
And then lastly, this one is our.
Oh, that's my least favorite. I feel like I
This
drew
one's
so many
my
pins for
pride and
this.
joy. This was actually one of our proposal pages for the book, and
No, but this is one of
really
my
proud
least
of it.
favorite pages because when we were drawing the pins, I remember like we had them all in the computer and we were looking at them, and every time I would think it was done, Ash was like, "Can you draw like 5 more pins?" And I was like, I was done, and then she kept just asking me to draw more and more and more stars. And it was like endless. It's a lot.
It's a lot of pins. I still have pins that are in a sketchbook that we never even
Yeah.
used too.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
Figure
You
out
can
what to do with
do
those.
the next volume.
Yeah, that's true.
And so since after doing the research and having this book out in the world, has the meaning of pride changed for either of you, or has it kind of expanded?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Wait, can you say the question
Has the
again?
meaning of pride changed or expanded?
Since when though?
Since the book came out.
Since the book came out. Yeah, I think so. I feel like that's a question that we just in general, like what does pride mean to you? Like I feel like everybody is asking people that. I feel like we've been interviewed a lot for June because we're queer business. So everybody's like flocking to all the queer business owners and be like, hey, answer some questions
Yeah,
for
tell us
me.
stuff.
But I feel like just within like the past, like, yeah, I guess past several years, Pride, at first I was like, Pride is like a fun parade that all the gays go to, and it's exciting and everyone can be really gay for a day. And that's what, like, coming out back in like the 2010s, that's what it was for me. But as I've grown as a queer person, I feel like I've come to know that Pride is more than just a parade. It's the ongoing fight for, normalizing just queers existing, of like queers of all types. And it's like continuing to, spread visibility and spread awareness of like what is going on in the queer community. And I don't know. It's like, yes, it's exciting to be out and proud and like when you can be and when you can be safe about it. Because not everybody can do that. But it's more than just a month, and it's just an ongoing thing is what I've been thinking about lately. Just
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, I guess like since we're like also a business, it does seem like Pride, like, well, June specifically often seems like kind of like a little like tease where it's like, oh, like people really care about us and people want our product so bad, and like we get this boom, and then June ends and they're like, never mind, like we're over you. And like so in that way it does kind of seem like, yeah, just like a bit of a tease. But I do think that like, I don't know, for me now pride just means like just seeing queer people as more than just queer people, like just as people who happen to be queer. And yeah, I don't know, that's kind of been my shift, I guess.
Nice. Okay, I have one more question. Because like obviously being half Black, the same thing happens during February where it's like, oh, support this Black business, and then end of February it's like, okay, so, but definitely I've already ordered an art print. That's how my day's gone. It was great. It was just a deep dive on your website. But in the intro, you write that exploring these threads of queer history, which should just be history. Is there one, if you could only, is there one piece of queer history that if you could put in a textbook that'd be across the US tomorrow, which one would you want to start with?
Oh my God, that's
Sorry, that's a hard question to end with.
Man, I'm like, American textbooks are already so messed up. I'm like, I don't even know how to put it. Oh geez. I feel like
or a queer icon.
I might, oh man, I don't know. I might put, I don't know. I might put like, do you have an answer you're looking at? You want me to answer? Okay, you want me to answer it.
Yeah, I want you to answer it.
I feel like I might put someone like, I might put like,
How many
sorry, I'm
times
gonna
you're
say it
say
like,
that?
I'm sorry. I think I would probably maybe put like Marsha P. Johnson or something in it because I feel like she's well known enough that it wouldn't be out of left field. And I also feel like she and like Sylvia Rivera symbolize so much resistance just in like them existing, and like also thinking about the fact that they faced like more struggles than most of us could imagine, like as two Black trans women existing, like especially not just existing now. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they would be a really good symbol for people, just that like change comes from the community too, because even though they didn't really have anything to give the community, no, that's not, they had lots to know. I mean,
a
like,
lot.
even though they didn't have a lot themselves, what I mean,
Okay.
what they gave the community was like, yeah, community. Like they started like the Star House, and they started just like, they were just like revolutionary. So I feel like they would be a great symbol for people to learn about. That was such a long answer for like not a good answer either.
No,
I'm
it's a good
sorry.
answer.
No, that's a good answer.
I'm too
Um,
into these.
the thing that always surprises me, because I first heard about it through a class, was Oscar Wilde and his Wilde Trials, which yeah, killed me. But that was just so interesting and never known, because going to a small high school in Wisconsin, they were like, Oscar Wilde, he's a straight white man for you. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, he wasn't. So that's fun. I ate a lot of joy from this. But except that it, like, the Wild Tribes was still very depressing. But I like that, I don't know, hopefully now he's living his best life. Even though he's long dead. Okay, anyways. Last question. What are you currently reading?
Ooh, I have my book right here. Can you hand it to me?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I know you like this one.
Okay, I'm obsessed with this. It just came out. I'm reading Future Feeling by Joss Blake, and it is so good. Chess, I can't believe. Okay,
What do you mean? I didn't even
I
read
just
it
got
yet.
it, so Chess hasn't had time to read it, but
It's
it's
on my TBR list.
oh my gosh, it is so I'm dying about how good it is. So it's about a trans dog walker in Brooklyn, and basically like he puts out this hex to like curse this like really hot trans guy on the internet that's like a trans influencer. He's just like really cute and whatever, and like Instagram. But anyway, someone else gets hexed.
Oh no.
And so someone gets sent to the Shadowlands, which is a deep depression. And it's sad, but it's really good because it's about like there's like camaraderie in it and gay stuff. And like by gay stuff, I mean it's just like the characters are queer. So like that's really refreshing because I feel like this is just like full on queer. Like some queer books are just like, oh, there's queer characters, but I love how queer this is. And that's what I'm reading.
I just finished Detransition Baby, which I really loved, and now I'm in the middle of two books. I'm reading, I don't have them with me, so I might not know the authors' names, but I'm reading Homegoing, which I think is by Yagyasi, and then I'm reading Kink too, which is like a collection of short stories. And I'm also reading a YA book called They Both Die at the End.
You're reading a lot.
I know, I don't know how I got 3 books going at once all of a sudden, but I do.
Nice.
What are you reading?
What am I reading? Oh my gosh. I'm reading How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith.
Cool.
It's nonfiction, which I don't normally read, so but it's so good. And then I just finished Centaurus. I forget the author, but basically these 5 women leave they leave their suburban or city life because it's like awful where they are, and there's just a lot of rules, and you have to abide by very strict laws, otherwise you just kind of get taken and you're never seen again. So they go on this island, and then they just live on this island, and it's amazing. One of my old coworkers was like, you have to read this, and so I finally did.
What is it called?
Centaurus.
How do you spell it?
It's C-A, N as in Nancy, O-R-T as in Tom, A, S as in Sam.
Oh, it sounds really good. I wanna-
It's so good. It's so good. I'm not doing it justice, but highly recommend. Um, yeah, both of them are very good. But that's all the time we have. Wow, that went so fast.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much to both Ashley and Chess for joining us tonight, and everyone watching. Your patronage is what enables us to bring you exciting events like this, and we cannot continue to host these types of events without the book sales to support them. And you can support us and these amazing people by buying the Fairy Agenda. If not because you're influenced by this, because of the artwork and because they're amazing people. Like, look at the other. You can't not buy it after saying this. And so we also have more events coming up. So check out our website and their website. Buy your art prints, buy stationery from there, because you get more fantastic artwork. We do hope to see you at our events coming up. And thank you again to Ash and Chess for your time. Thank you so much, everyone. Stay safe and stay strong and stay well read. Thank you. Until next time. Thank you.